If anything could be said for the Iowa football team in 2017, it's that they made their mark on the college football season. We bring in Ben Ross from Blackheart Gold Pants. It's the SB Nation platform for Iowa athletics to talk up the Hawkeyes 2017, but mostly and most importantly, spring ahead to what we'll see this fall. Ben, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. So what I allude to there is that Iowa, despite just going 7-5 in the regular season, this was the most talked about football team in America on two particular occasions. The Saturday and Sunday and the few days following the demolition of Ohio State, 55-24. And then, of course, preceding and then just following the College Football Playoff Committee's decision to leave out Ohio State in favor of Alabama. And I could not consider anybody a college football fan if they didn't know the score or at least the spread of that game, because it was the most talked about game in America over and over and over. Everybody knew Iowa beat Ohio State by 31, and people generally don't remember scores, but that's the one game that resonated with everybody, whether it was to defend Ohio State or stick another nail in the coffin.
Your 2017 Iowa Hawkeyes, the most important team in college football. I'll tell you what, laying down the double nickel, Woodshed, Iowa. I was at that game, actually, and it was just magic. And, obviously we end the regular season 7-5, but in all likelihood, we keep Ohio State out of the playoff. And once again, the road to the college football playoff leads through Iowa City.
And so, Ben, people are scratching their heads concerning Ohio State because they see what they're capable of doing against the likes of USC, Penn State, Wisconsin, on down the road. And then you can also scratch your head concerning Iowa, that puts up 55 against Ohio State and puts up barely double digits against the likes of Purdue and Northwestern and some other teams. Mm-hmm. And so this is where I come to you for some interpretation. We look at Nathan Stanley's stat line. It looks rather impressive. 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And, of course, Akram Wadley, one of the finest backs in college football. So try to review 2017 and whether it was a positive season or a negative season. And before I let you jump in, to the rest of us, I believe it seems like the typical Iowa season, 7-5, win a bowl game, which has not been the case in recent years, but still you finish at 8-5. 8-5 feels like Iowa.
Yeah, I think Kirk Ferentz's average win since being at Iowa for the past 87 years is around 8 or 9, I think 7.9 or 8.2 wins a season. There you go. With Iowa, we got 8 wins this year with the bowl game. You mentioned about how fans perceive the season as a success or a failure. Obviously, 7-5 is not really our standard, but getting the bowl win, albeit against probably a pretty not great, for being honest, Boston College team and a really atrocious Pinstripe Bowl, that makes the season a whole success. I believe getting that we had lost 5 straight bowl games going up to that. And getting that monkey off our back really was a big deal for Iowa fans everywhere. You talked about laying 55 points on Ohio State, and then the very next week losing 38-14 to Wisconsin. And those 14 points came off of Josh Jackson. Our cornerback had 2 pick-for-6s. Our offense had a total of, I believe, 66 net yards against Wisconsin in that game. Then the week after that, we lose to Purdue 15-24 at home on senior day. Really just a lot of head-scratching moments for this Iowa team, but that's just Iowa sports in a nutshell. You win games you're not supposed to, and lose games you're supposed to win. And the season really was no different. You mentioned Nate Stanley. He set a record, or tied the record rather, for touchdown passes thrown in a season at 25. And he's only 19 years old. So there's a lot to like out of him. We have over 70% of our receiving core returning for next year. And the offense really, I think, should, even though we lose Akram Wadley, who really was a transcendent talent at running back, I really have a high expectations for how Nate Stanley can command this unit for 2018 and beyond.
Ben, could you take anything from the bowl game performance? So I watched that one start to finish. Yes, BC is not an explosive team. They're a workmanlike team. They're not going to wow anyone with talent, They did have some impressive scores that they run up in the ACC and being competitive. Louisville comes to mind. They beat Lamar Jackson and company. Icy conditions, guys slipping all over the field, statistically dominated in the first half. You guys hung in there and then made the plays and put together the drives that counted in the second half.
Yeah, that bowl game was tough to watch. You know, I actually watched the game. One of my best friends went to Boston College, so I watched that along next to him on his couch. And first half, you know, there was really no doubt in my mind I was going to lose that game. I'll be as pessimistic as I can. I saw nothing. I believe Boston College running back A.J. Dillon had around 126 rushing yards at one half, and we held him to just, I think, 60 more at the second half. So you have to really give a lot of credit to defensive coordinator Phil Parker for finally sort of dialing up how to stop Darius Wade, Boston College's quarterback, and how to slow down Dillon. We had 3 sacks in the second half, which is we didn't get any pressure on Dillon at all in the first half, which is how he was able to carve up Iowa. Boston College got some lucky breaks. I believe a tip ball went for a touchdown in the first half for BC. But I think we only allowed 3 points to Boston, if I recall correctly, in the second half. And we finally got James Butler and Akram Wadley involved more in the offense and really kind of shut them down. And, you know, big hats off to this Iowa defense where Anthony Nelson forced a fumble on a pivotal third down with under 5 minutes left in the game against Boston College. Iowa recovered the ball at midfield and drove down and scored a touchdown. And that was that. It was felt, even though, you know, Boston College probably, in all honesty, is a lesser opponent, and that bowl game really was hard to watch. We were lucky no players got injured because the field conditions are absolutely abysmal. There is no reason to be playing football on a baseball field that doesn't have heated coils. We're lucky we didn't see players get seriously injured. But bowl win's a bowl win. Pinstripe bowl, we'll take it.